we seem to be slowing down. Is everybody entered? There's a few more trickling in. Is that roughly what we have registered? All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Drangoba. I am the chair of the Old East Village BIA, and I'm thrilled to have everyone here. Even though I can't see you, I know you're present with us. It's been a tiring year and a half, almost 2 years now. We have all endured a lot. We've all been a community, and we're going to continue to be a very strong community as we move forward. Before we continue on with the BIA's proceedings, I did want to acknowledge the most recent loss that we have had in the community of the baby toddler Anaya. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family, and I hope that everybody can offer whatever support they can going forward. So if you want to take a minute to think about that loss, I would appreciate it. Before we move on, I thought I would go through a few housekeeping issues. As you know, this is a webinar, so we are not seeing you. But we do have a recording turned on. I hope that everybody's okay with that. We have it turned on because we're going to be posting the presentation on our website so that everybody in the community who has not been able to join the AGM is able to see the proceedings and be able to ask questions later on. At the bottom of your screen, you will see there's a chat icon and a Q&A icon. The chat icon, I would like you to use that for any sort of technical problems that you have. If you need help with Zoom, or if you're experiencing any issues. And also, there's going to be a few points during this period when we're going to have a quick vote. So we'd like movers and seconders to post in that box. Anytime you have a question, so we can't hear you. So anytime you have a question, please write it in the Q&A box, and we will answer any question that is pertaining to the budget at this meeting. But if there is a question that relates to anything else, we are going to compile all of those questions and send an email response to everybody who has participated in this meeting today. So we just have a very tight agenda. We have a lot to share with you, and we will not have time to answer anything but budget questions going forward. There are going to be a few polls during the presentation and during the meeting, so please participate in them as we put them up. So I do want to move on from for now, and next on our agenda we have Jesse Helmer, our counselor, who would like to share a few comments with you next. Jesse, please.
Thanks very much, Maria. And I want to just start by echoing what Maria said at the beginning. This is it's been a very difficult time. It seems to be dragging on forever. And I don't know if it's the case for everybody else, but it feels like time is really stretching out and slowing down as we're moving through the pandemic. My daughter, who's turning 14 months tomorrow, she's never known a time when it wasn't a global pandemic. And I just want to acknowledge that it's been extremely stressful for a lot of people. Some people are started in much better situations than others. Some people, because of the nature of their work or the kind of business that they run, have been more severely impacted than others. And especially for those people who are dealing with the biggest problems and have been most severely impacted. I want to say we are going to get to the other side of this. I like to say that we're on the downhill, but it's a really big hill, and it's going to take us a while to get through it. We're only going to be able to do that if we support each other, we work together, we help each other out when we need help, we ask for help when we need help. And I want to say to Maria and the other board members on the BIA, thank you for what you do as members of the BIA. Sometimes doesn't get acknowledged often enough, in addition to the work that you do in the community, also taking on this volunteer role and other things in the community. I really appreciate it. The BIA really benefits from your advice and input at the board meetings. I also want to just say a couple of things about city, what's going on with the city. I'm not going to say too much because I think Jen is going to cover a lot of the really important stuff when she speaks. But one is that we managed to convince the province to provide a little bit of tax relief to businesses and finally fix a really long-standing unfairness in how they were taxing business properties. And that's something that Mayor Holder, myself, and now Deputy Mayor Morgan pushed very hard. We've been lobbying for them on this issue for a long time. And back in 2020, we were finally able to convince the province to fix it, not just for London or not just for the businesses in Old East, but for the entire city and the whole province. Basically, the entire region in southwestern Ontario was being taxed at a much higher rate than, say, Toronto. And we managed to convince them to fix that. And it's saving in 2021, 2021, it's saving $22 million a year for businesses in London alone. It's about 400 million across the whole province, but it was 22 million in London. I know that's not going to solve everybody's problems, but it is a small thing that we managed to convince the province to do. It resulted in basically an 8% tax decrease for commercial properties this year. And, I think it's one of those things we've been trying to get going for a long time, and we finally succeeded. And I wanted to acknowledge Jen for helping to push for that, and also Mayor Holder and Deputy Mayor Morgan, who were instrumental in making that happen. I do want to say a couple of things about Jen, because you're going to hear about all kinds of stuff that's going on and all the things that the BIA staff are involved in and pushing for. And I can say that over, especially the course of the pandemic, when things have been very intense, in different parts of the city, I think people have had different kinds of challenges, but here in Old East Village, we've had all the issues and problems we had before, plus major construction projects, plus the global pandemic. And that has been very difficult for the unique one-of-a-kind businesses that are in this area. Some of the businesses and organizations that are most severely impacted by the pandemic, they're the ones that are concentrated in Old East Village, unique one-of-a-kind restaurants, arts and culture organizations like the Palace, and, destinations like a Banting House, tourism operations. A lot of the things that make this neighborhood great and make it such a vibrant commercial district, we know those organizations and businesses have been so severely hard hit by what has happened. So Jen has been a really fierce and effective advocate. She has certainly pushed me and pushed other folks at the city very firmly at times to make sure that the voice and needs of the business community were heard. I know that Mayor Holder, a number of the other councillors who don't represent this area, they really regard her as a really effective person who knows what is needed and is pushing very clearly to get those things to happen in partnership with people in the downtown BIA, people who work in other parts of the city, to make sure we can get good things happening here in Old East Village and we're actually meeting the needs. It's very difficult work, and I wanted to acknowledge Jen and all the staff of the BIA, Nicole and Adi, who show up every day trying to make things a bit better. And it's not easy, and I think we need to acknowledge the work that they're doing, support them in that work, because it's never been easy work, but it's been very difficult in the last 18 months or so. So that's it for me.
Thanks, Jesse. Those are wonderful words, and I would like to echo your sentiment about the efforts and the work that the staff have done over this year. We're going to hear a lot about what has been achieved, but we are exceptionally lucky to have staff that is so dedicated to the success, even in such trying times as we are experiencing today. So you would have all received a copy of the agenda and the financial statements in your packages that came with the Zoom link. And now we're going to move into the business section of the meeting, where the first order of business is to approve the agenda. So if I could have a couple of the attendees who are BIA members, so that you'd have to be a business owner or a property owner within the BIA. That would be on the Dundas corridor going from Adelaide to Charlotte. If you are one of these individuals, you may move to approve this agenda, and we are going to need a mover and a seconder. So if I could get a couple of people to, okay, Darlene Pratt has moved, and someone else who I don't see a name there, so we're gonna need a name for the seconder, please. Rob Campbell, thank you. All right, so if everybody is in favor, are we gonna have a vote on this? Sorry, I should have. Are you running a poll or not? Yes. All right, so please vote with the poll. Click yes if you approve the agenda.
Yep, 13 of 13 have said yes.
All right, thank you all. Now we're going to be able to follow the agenda. And the next item is the approval of the minutes from 2020. So if you remember, about a year ago, we had another meeting by Zoom, not in person like we normally do at Aeolian or another lovely venue in Old East Village. So I'm going to take you back to that time, and if you've had the time to review the minutes, if we could have someone move to approve the minutes, but we are going to scroll through them quickly in case you have not had the opportunity to view them. Okay, so someone who's had some time to, all right, we have Darlene Pratt from London Clay Arts Centre moving to approve, and seconder, please. All right, now we're going to have the poll. So Chris Stroud moved, was a seconder on that. All right, do we have the votes in?
Yes, we have 14 in favor and
All right.
0 no.
Excellent. Thank you all for voting on these important items that are going to let us get to the next item of the business agenda, and that is the budget that we have prepared to go to the city so that we could function and operate in the following year. And I'm going to ask Jen to explain the budget to us and the process that we need to go through. Jen.
Great. Thanks, Maria. Just gonna wait. Perfect. So what you're going to see, you've received a package that would have had these documents in it, but there are three. Sorry about that. There are three different pieces, different documents. So I just want to briefly go over what those three are. Our funding is delivered in two bundles. One is our levy budget, which is the levy tax that property owners, business owners pay for us to do the work that we do. That amount is $42,000. The remainder of the funds that support the operation of the business actually come from the city annual budget, and that is the remainder of the funds. This is not something we're mandated to do, but historically, we've always shown the membership how their levy particularly is spent. And then we show the full city budget, which is delivered to the city and presented to council for approval. That includes the $42,000 levy budget, but we want to demonstrate to membership how that $42,000 will be spent. So what I'm going to focus on today is I'm going to focus on the levy budget notes. The first document you're going to see is the actual spreadsheet for the levy budget. Take a look at that. If you have any questions, of course, this here. But we're going to start with the budget notes because these are all just numbers. These same numbers are represented in the next slide, but it actually has more details of how those numbers are broken out and spent. So that would be of more interest, I would think. But if anyone has any questions about this, please feel free. The other thing I want to point out is that this is not going to be the one and only opportunity to provide feedback or comment to this budget. We have to submit the budget in early November. So November 5th is the last day in which the BIA can accept comments or questions about the budget. So you don't have to ask them today. We're more than happy to answer them today. But if something comes up or you have something else that kind of comes to your mind later on this month, that's perfectly fine. We can definitely answer that. Call us, email, make an appointment. We're always happy to talk budget. So yeah, if we can switch now to the budget notes. So one thing I will point out is that some of these items will be the same on both the levy budget notes and the full budget. For example, the advertising, marketing, and promotion budget in its entirety is $6,950. So that will be the same on both documents. Some of the other documents split some of the funds between the levy funds that come in and the city funds. So some of those numbers will be different, but for example, the advertising, marketing, and promotion is in its entirety the same number on both budget lines. We can flip to the next one. So as you can see here, all of this, well, we really strive to have all of the levy funding be really outward facing supports for the businesses, flower baskets, events, shop to win, pole decorations, those kind of things, festivals, all of those outward facing direct supports to businesses is really where we like to put into this budget. We do have a small amount for maintenance and repairs and leasehold, which is required to maintain our office. But for the most part, our focus is on the business and the streetscape. We'll flip to the next. And the only other budget line I wanted to point out, and it too is the same as the city budget as a whole, is the COVID expenses. This is a new budget line that was asked of us by the City of London to etch out some funds in order to provide flexibility for supports for businesses from within our own budget. So this list of activities, some have taken place already, some are going to be coming up, but this is the list of items that we will prioritize using this fund. We currently have a proactive graffiti removal program in place, which you will hear from Nicole. And we have for the first time, we have the proactive snow removal service that we're going to be working with over the winter time. We will maintain our digital marketing fund. Revive Live is a program, some of you may know about it. It's run through the City of London Music Office, and it's intended to support live music venues that have been shuttered for a very long time. So they create programming, whether it be done virtually or very small audiences when we're allowed, that will bring in revenue, support local artists as well as the venues themselves. And we're involved in that as well as Downtown London, Arts Council, a number of different space. So And then the direct business support is, again, if opportunities arise. For example, recently we had a national show come into the neighborhood for Whistling Dicks a number of months ago, and they were highlighted in a national barber show. So we were able to support to provide some funds to support that initiative. So that is open to all businesses. You just need to make us aware of opportunities. And then Only an OEV program expansion. I will be explaining a little bit more about what Only an OEV is. It's a 2-phase program to market and promote the neighborhood. And this budget line will be for phase 2. Phase 1 is already budgeted in 2021. All right. Perfect. So, and then this is our full budget. So as you'll see here, the municipal levy there's 40 and 42, the top line there. The reason why 40 and 42 is because there is a number of there is an aspect of the levy that people can request it back if they're a not-for-profit. So we have 40 guaranteed. Sometimes we have 42. It depends each year. So then, and then most of the budget lines, as you see, are fairly straightforward. If you could flip over to the next page. Perfect. So yeah, and these budget lines are the same as, many of them are the same as what you've seen in the levy budget. Again, some of the numbers are exactly the same, and some of them are larger based on the fact that there's city funding being attached to the budget lines as well. So that's pretty much all I have. Does anyone have any? I did see one question already. Is there any questions? I can answer them in order. I don't know, Maria, do you want to maybe read them out?
Just 1 second, I have to unmute. I have seen one question through the chat that relates to snow removal, and that is, why do we have snow budget? Isn't that a city municipal expense?
Yeah. So yes, so I think Rob might have actually partially answered that. But yes, within the roadway is the city's responsibility. Actually, directly in front of businesses is the business's responsibility. What we're talking about is the section of sidewalk that really lives between the curb and the walking path that usually is worn along. That section is usually where the snow removal gets dumped, and it becomes this big hill that is no man's land, basically. Anywhere in the city, it's no man's land. So if you want to have that removed, we hire someone to do that. So that is what we're talking about. We're not talking about like removal on the roads or anything like that. It is the hump between the curb and the sidewalk that is not covered by city removal.
Great, thanks for that answer. I'm trying to see if there are any more questions. Do we have any more questions for? There's another question related to snow removal, whether or not that is standard in other districts.
I can speak to the fact in London, yes. I can't speak to other municipalities, and maybe Jesse may want to weigh in on this, but downtown London, if they want snow removed between the sidewalk and the curb, there is services they have to provide to do that. In other business districts, it is the same. I can't, like I said, I can't speak about other municipalities though.
Yes, thank you.
And I do see that Rashad was asking for the documents. So Nicole, I know that you have Rashad's email. Can you forward that to him for me, please?
So that
Yes,
would be
definitely.
that would be the budget document that.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Does anybody else have any questions about the budget? So I'm not sure we really explained at the beginning. The budget has been approved by the board, and it will be going to council for approval. But at this time, it's strictly presented for information to everybody in the BIA, so that we all know and have this opportunity to ask questions.
Yeah. one thing actually, I'll provide a little bit more of a process information, is that, so the process is, as you said, our board, we create the document, our board looks at it, and then approves it to be presented to the membership for comment. That's the stage we're at right now. That we would gather comments or questions from the membership and integrate those into the budget. If thematically, we see a large interest in particular service or item, and then we send it to the City of London staff to create a report, in essence, out of the budget, and they do that with all BIAs, and then like a consolidated report goes to council, and they eventually, it lands at the committee, but then eventually at council it is voted on, and then once that vote is done, then our funding is released. It's budgeted, our BIA funding is budgeted during the multi-year budget process as kind of earmarked as being available to us, but we have to provide a budget each year in order for us to be approved for the funding to be released. So it is an annual process. So you'll see us again this time next year with a new budget.
Well, since we have another couple of minutes before our one of our guests arrives, I thought I would take Darlene's question about how many BIAs are there in London. I know it has nothing to do with our budget.
Yeah, of course. So we have 5. This is relatively new. As of 4 years ago, we had 2. So we had the Downtown London BIA ourselves, Argyle BIA, Hyde Park BIA, and Hamilton Road.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think we have everyone on the call now, Maria.
Excellent. So I think we can move on unless there are more budget questions. We do have another minute. If you have any, actually, can you call? I have to. This is not good timing. Now we'll have a recording of my phone, which links to my my computer. Okay, next.
Maria, there is one additional question, and while you're on mute, maybe I'll just answer that for the group. It does. So we have a question: do the BI share their budgets with each other in advance? We do discuss our budgets. We don't necessarily share each other's, because we all have very different budgets. Budget numbers, the amount of money, the funding that come in. But we do discuss similar themes and things like that across our BIs that we have similar, and we talk about what that looks like and how it affects budget. They're not private documents though, so absolutely, and that's the other thing as well. The documents are completely public, so once they are approved at council, they're put into report ahead of being approved at council, which is a public document. So yeah, we aren't shy about it, but at the same time, it's not obligated. That helps.
Excellent, thank you. So we're now going to move to the year in review, and we are very excited to have 2 guests that are going to start the presentation of the year in review. We have from the London Police Services Foot Patrol, Jackie Jovicic, who actually sits on the BIA board. And we also have Dave O'Brien, who is going to present from the City of London. He's the Director of Security and Emergency Management. So I think Jackie's first on the call. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. So as Maria said, my name is Jackie Jovicic. I'm one of the sergeants on the Downtown Community Foot Patrol, specifically to the Old East Village. Sergeant Mike Potroff takes care of the downtown area. And we have 19 constables on our patrol that take care of downtown and Old East Village. So to give you a little bit of background, I want to go back to December 2019. I know this is a year in a review, but I want to give people some context as to why things maybe seemingly changed within with the police. In December 2019, Bill C-75 was introduced to all Canadian police officers. So it has changed our release, the way we release people from custody. So, and this was brought in by the Liberal government. But basically, if the person who we have arrested is not a concern to public safety, then they shall be released. So if someone's committing thefts, breaking windows, those are considered a lesser offense. And if they haven't committed multiple crimes, then we're obligated to release the person at the scene with an appearance notice. So there may be times where you see police officers arresting people, maybe they smash your front window and they're releasing them from the scene. That's because of the changes to our criminal code. My experience, unfortunately, is that I have seen people commit violent crimes, and we arrest them and charge them and take them to court, and then the courts then release them. So we're seeing that happen a lot too. So that is just a brief introduction to Bill C-75, but I wanted to let you know about some projects that the Community Foot Patrol Unit has been conducting over the year. So in January 21, our crime analysts detected an increase in crime trends in the downtown and the Old East Village. So there was a higher number of break-and enters, property damage, attempted break-and enters, and thefts from motor vehicles. And the majority of these incidents were happening between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. So, when everyone's at home and in bed. So a project plan was put together to create 24/7 high visibility patrols. So officers on foot patrol were assigned to wear their bright yellow jackets in order for the public to see them. And we also brought some constables over from Uniform Division. So those would be the constables who report to calls in a police cruiser. And so they were brought over to assist with foot patrols downtown as well. They would spend time so our crime analysts would determine which areas of the downtown were facing higher crime. So our crime analysts would collect that data, give it to the officers, and then the officers were directed to spend an increased amount of time in those particular hotspots. So if you know anything about trying to prevent crime, there's something called a Koper curve, where if an officer spends 15 to 20 minutes in one location that's a high crime area, that's supposed to prevent crime for the next 2 to 4 hours. So we were doing that. And also during our foot patrols downtown, we were dealing with vagrancy and trespassing. So if individuals who are homeless were sleeping in doorways of businesses, we would engage with them and ask them to move along. And we would offer our assistance by contacting a social agency to see if they could be put into shelter or given food, water, clothing, something to help them with their current situation. So additionally, we were offering SEPTED evaluations to the businesses downtown. So this is a free service that was offered by the London Police Service crime prevention team, where if a business wanted assistance to prevent their business from being broken into, we would send our crime prevention officer out, and they would give, so SEPTED is an acronym for crime prevention through environmental design. So such things as, clearing items out of your front window, making sure all of the cash is out of your business during the night, making your business seem as though it wouldn't be worth breaking into throughout the evening. So our officers conducted 75 SEPTED evaluations to the businesses downtown. They would also go to a business. If they did get broken into throughout the night, they would go to that business the next morning to see if they needed any further assistance with securing their business to prevent it from happening again in the future. So some stats that we gathered from that project. It started officially February 5th, 2021, and ended in July of 2021. So regarding the outside agencies, so the police officer speaking with the individual who's homeless on the street would call London Cares to see if there was any services that could be provided. So 425 phone calls were made to London Cares for assistance. And out of those 425 times, 293 people declined any services at all. They would tell us, you know, we're happy living on the street. We don't want to live in a shelter. Oftentimes people would tell us there's too many rules in a shelter. And so they would prefer to live on the street. There was 57 times where there was no services available, and 54 times where services were provided. So thankfully, the YMCA was opened midway through the winter. So it offered more shelter beds to people, so we could send them there often. There was other shelter beds open throughout the city as well. I think my sister's place, Resting Space, which is run by London Cares, and you know, the Salvation Army and the Men's Mission. So that's it. Overall, there was a decrease in those crimes during that time. Unfortunately, the project had to come to an end because of staffing shortages. We just couldn't staff it anymore because of summer holidays and whatnot. So I'm being told I only have 1 minute left, but we currently have a prolific offender project going on, also downtown and in Old East Village. It's targeting obviously prolific offenders. We're taking a collaborative approach with our community partners, so our social agencies, to conduct outreach to our top 15 prolific offenders in the downtown who are committing break and enters, thefts, property damage, and robberies. So out of those people, there's 7 of them currently in EMDC, and the rest were currently being dealt with by outreach teams. So currently, it sounds like it's working out really well, but we're only 3 months into that project. So, and it's kind of an experiment to see if this really helps the individuals who are out on the street, who are homeless, who need wraparound supports and help from the entire community. So that's all for now, and I'll give it back to Maria. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. I think we are going to go to Dave O'Brien next. Thanks for coming, Dave.
Thanks for having me, everybody, and good evening. And thanks for including us in your meeting tonight. Jackie touched on a couple of initiatives that are included under our core area action plan. And for folks that aren't familiar with that plan, we have many, many different initiatives that are focused on improving the core area in the city. I think currently there's over 70 active initiatives underway. And tonight I'm going to talk just about 2 of them. Jackie talked about a couple of them as part of her discussion as well. But the 2 I'm going to talk about tonight are primarily focused on safety and security. The first program is called the Spotlight Program. This program should be initiated, and you'll get information about it probably in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And this program is based on a program that was developed in the United States. And it's fairly simplistic in its setup. It's focusing on identifying CCTV cameras that exist within private businesses and identifying that there's surveillance in the area. So there's lots of research around the effectiveness on video surveillance. And one of the things that's come out particular to this program is by letting individuals know that there's video surveillance in the area, it's been shown to provide some deterrence for negative behavior, including criminal. Detroit has been running this program for several years and has had some success in deterring folks and base behaviors around vandalism, break-ins, and that sort of stuff. It's fairly early on, and there is more research needed in terms of the overall effectiveness. But given what we've seen so far, we've decided to try to implement this in London. So you'll be receiving some information shortly as a business owner in the core that will identify how the program will work. We have a website that is developed where you can register your business to be part of the program. We will provide you with stickers that can be placed in your business window to identify that there are video surveillance cameras in the area. In addition to that, obviously, we're working with London Police because this could provide support and assistance if a crime was to occur in the area. They can quickly see where video surveillance is available, and they can go to that location to see if there's anything that could help them and assist them in identifying who may be responsible for that particular crime that occurred or incident per se. So we anticipate there'll be a full communication out to everybody probably in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Stickers will be brought out to your business. We will answer any questions you may have when we bring the stickers out to you. And as I said, all the information on how to register for the program will be provided to you through our communications plan. The second program I'd like to talk about is a program that's already underway, and some of you may have seen that we have started a security audit of the entire core area. We have a consultant that we're working with out of Toronto, Globe Risk. The lead component of that consultant firm, Alan Bell, has been in London several times conducting what's called a threat review analysis or risk analysis. Part of that has included walkthroughs of the entire core area with his team. And what they're going to be doing is identifying improvements from a security perspective, both within the private areas as well as the public areas within the core. He will then review all of the information and the analysis that they complete, and they will provide a report back to the city with a prioritized list of recommendations for improvements that need to be made. Most of the improvements will center around physical environment, such things as potentially proper or better lighting. It could recommend gates or things that would keep pass of folks in proper ways. And these recommendations, once they're received, will be reviewed by the city. There is budget available for folks, business owners, if there's a recommendation related to their property through the city budget, that we will work with you to implement the recommendations that were made in relation to your area or your particular business. In addition to that, we'll also be focusing on the public spaces, and we'll be identifying and working through recommendations and improvements related to the public spaces over the course of the next 5 years. So each year there's money set aside to ensure that we're able to implement the recommendations that come out of the audit, and we'll continue to work with the consultant and of course the business community to ensure we're doing the best we can on the implementation of those recommendations once they come forward. So those are two of many initiatives that are underway, and I know folks are probably familiar with a lot of the stuff that's going on. But those are two highlights we just wanted to talk about briefly for you guys tonight to let you know you can expect some action on these things very shortly. And as I said, the security audit is underway as we speak. And you may have been visited or spoken to by some of the consultant team. So hopefully we'll have that information back and start the implementation sometime in the new year. And that's in a nutshell what we got going on.
Thank you, Dave. This is some very exciting initiatives that both you and Jackie have described. There's challenging issues, and we all live with them. But it's great to see that something new and different is being tried, and there's a lot of effort to improve what is happening in Old East Village and downtown. So to continue with the year in review, we're now going to move to sorry, I don't know if it's Jen or Sarah that starts first. One of our
Sarah.
staff members. Sarah?
Hi, it's me. Hi, my name is Sarah Crook, and I am currently the BIA's summer student, but I was the communications intern since May of this year. So today I'll be talking about some of the specific projects and programs that I've been working on. Yeah. So first up is the More Than a Main Street series that I've been working on with Adi Berardini. So this is a promotional series, and so far we've run promotions on K-Laba, Bella's Acacia Catering, Unique Food Attitudes, State of Tropical Foods, Mystic Bookshop, and our most recent on Mamo's Fry. So More Than a Main Street is a core feature of our blog content this year, and we have at least 15 more spotlights planned across the rest of 2021 and 2022. The strategy behind this series is to show our digital audiences a side to Dundas Street that they might not know. We focus on showing the faces and fun stories behind OEV businesses that help make our section of Dundas Street special. So if you're a business owner and you want to be featured in this series, please reach out to the BIA and we'd be happy to arrange a meeting. The next is a construction dollar program report that I did as part of my internship. So I worked with the BIA and a few businesses to create a report on the 2020 construction dollar program. The full document is available upon request, but I prepared some of the key findings from that report to share with you all. The construction dollar program was the first of its kind, so from the beginning, flexibility was key. Thankfully, the BIA's goals for the program aligned with those of the City of London, with a central overlap in the desire to strengthen communication between the BIA and the city. Despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, the first year of the program was a great success. The business owners and program coordinators that I spoke to while working on this project also added that it brought customers back for return trips. It encouraged customers to follow the businesses and the BIA on social media. And it encouraged customers to shop more and reach reward tiers through shop to win style promotions and incentives. In the creation of my report, I was able to work with the BIA, the City of London, and OEV business owners and program coordinators. Without their help, my project would not have come together as well as it did. And I'm glad that I was able to contribute something to this great initiative for the neighborhood. To sort of tie up the program, the construction dollar program report that I did, I actually prepared some survey questions for everyone. So if you wouldn't mind taking some time to answer those in just a moment. After that, I will pass everything off to my colleague, Adi. Oh, they're still coming in. I'll just wait a couple more seconds. All right, I think we're good. Thank you very much for your participation. And I will now pass it off to Adi.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. My name is Adi Berardini, and I am the Construction and Business Communications Specialist here at the Old East Village BIA. I have been with the BIA since February 2021. An important part of my role is updating the website and business information as part of digital communications. I have written 8 promotional blog posts to promote businesses with a combined 1,540 views, and created blog posts around International Women's Day, Earth Day, and summer patios. And moving on to the digital analytics, this past year from January 1st to October 5th, we've had nearly 7,000 users to the site and over 11,000 page views. And the BIA uses MailChimp as a tool to reach business owners and provide both resources, opportunities, and construction updates from the City of London. Additionally, we send out monthly community newsletters to over 900 contacts to update residents about local events and promotions. And next is social media. My role includes designing and sharing visuals and graphics for events and contests, creating social media posts to help promote businesses and share promotions. And I like to focus on storytelling as a means of content promotion, so sharing different stories and promotions daily. The community profile of the BIA was raised by increasing the follower count on Facebook to 735 likes and 859 followers, and 1,045 followers on Instagram. This social media construction dollar contests, as we see here, have kept the community engaged with the program. For example, the photo contest and this Explore OEV contest, where people share their favorite OEV businesses for a chance to win construction dollars. This past year, there were 7 contests organized with an overall budget of $4,000. So far, we have distributed over $2,400 construction dollars to help support businesses in Old East Village. Another aspect of my position is construction reporting. I work closely with the City of London construction staff, Larry Davidson, the project manager, and also Jeff Shaughnessy, business relations manager of downtown projects, who are both great to work with, and completed construction walks 3 times a week. Reports on the construction site concerns were promptly sent to the city and the contractor, with a focus on making the site safe and accessible. With the assistance of our summer student, Sarah, 2 new logs for construction reporting were created, counting the numbers of occurrences of garbage, fencing, and signage, and general accessibility issues to capture the data and advocate for a clean and more accessible site. There are several marketing and promotion items that the City of London has assisted the BIA with to help promote the area during construction. These include radio ads at 5 different radio stations, the Dig OEV digital billboards, graphic design work, such as the free parking ads, social media boosts and email updates, and of course, the Construction Dollars program. The City of London also provided a construction toolkit and wayfinding signage with key contacts and an updated business directory and map. To date, 38 construction update emails were sent between February and September with an average open rate of 43%. And the BIA reshares this with our business list. So next, please fill a quick poll about engagement with the BIA's communications. And after that, I will also be presenting the Welcome Back to Old East Village video, which was funded by the City of London as a promotional support and launched in spring 2021. And then my colleague, Nicole Borland, will discuss the BIA's programs and projects. Thank you so much.
We've got some responses still coming in, so I'm going to give it another couple of seconds. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that. Thank you for participating.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Borland, and I am the Projects and Programs Coordinator here at the Old East Village BIA, and I have been here since June of 2019. So throughout 2021, many recovery programs and efforts, both ongoing and new, contributed to providing assistance to businesses during the reopening process. And now I'm going to go through some of these different programs. So to begin with, our ongoing programs. So there is Coordinated Informed Response. This program provides support to businesses and residents in the core area, as well as those engaged in street activity. The BIA works closely with city staff to provide the most effective support possible for all parties involved. We make daily observations and reports on these matters and will continue to do so for the remainder of this year and moving forward. Next, we have the financial incentive programs. This city-funded program offers interest-free loans for updates and improvements to building interiors and facades. Many OEV businesses and property owners, past and present, have taken advantage of these loans. As a measure of COVID relief, incentive program loan payments were deferred twice in 2020. Now, due to the efforts of Councillor Jesse Helmer, loan holders will have this option again in 2021. So we would definitely like to point that out and to thank you for that option, Jesse. Next, there is the OEV Facade Mural program. Early on in 2020, the BIA secured city funding in order to beautify buildings boarded due to COVID closures. This program continued into 2021, and to date, 11 murals have been created by local artists. But we will hear more about this program in particular in an upcoming video. Next is the graffiti removal program. This program is a partnership with Pathways Skills Development, and it expanded this year and encompassed a full sweep of graffiti on Dundas. In 2021, 12 instances of graffiti were removed at zero cost to the businesses. We will be doing a second sweep within the next few weeks before the weather gets too cold. Next is the Construction Dollars program. And this program continues to provide support to businesses throughout construction and reopening. As Adi and Sarah both mentioned, and as Jen will discuss in more detail in a little bit, but I would like to point out one highlight from this year. In September 2021, the BIA welcomed 96 Western students to OEV as part of the program O Serves. Their responsibility was to get to know their city and to support local independent businesses with construction dollars. Within 2 hours, $4,800 was contributed to OEV businesses, many of those businesses would have noted seeing those students come back as well. So next, I'm going to talk about some new programs. To begin with is the Recovery Grant. This city-funded program, new in 2021, gave OEV business and property owners the opportunity to complete updates and or upgrades to building facades, as well as repair any damage caused during COVID closures. There were 11 OEV businesses that benefited from this program, receiving up to $5,000 each. Next is the Patio Improvement Grant, also new in 2021. This city-funded program gave OEV businesses the opportunity to build or augment existing patios that were on or visible from Dundas Street. 7 businesses took advantage of this program, receiving up to $2,000 each. As well, I would like to mention the Clean Slate program that's funded by the city and managed by YOU, as well as the upcoming Ambassador program, both of which will continue to provide support to neighborhood businesses, residents, and visitors, but Jen will speak to those upcoming programs more specifically in her part of the presentation. Next, a very brief look at 2021 neighborhood and business funding support. We itemized a list of the above mentioned funding programs, as well as some external funding sources that directly benefited or will benefit OEV businesses to determine the total amount of funding support contributed to the neighborhood this year. At present, this number totals $124,500. Some of these budgeted items are ongoing, and we do look forward to arriving at completion in the end of 2021, but we were very happy to see that total number. So if you do have any questions or would like any further information on the above mentioned programs and how they may benefit you, please do visit our business resource page on oldeastvillage.com. They're all listed there. And of course, you can call our office anytime during business hours as well. So now I would like to introduce a video created by Sarah Crook that highlights the accomplishments of artists through the Facade mural program this year, as well as the murals that were completed in 2020.
Neighborhoods that are like Old East Village that are under construction or they're up and coming, you often have a really great neighborhood dynamic. People are always interested in community projects and helping, and we're really friendly, and there's a lot of stuff going on, so I always kind of prefer that. Everyone that went by who was in a good mood said like, oh, it's so great, it's so nice to see something really bright and colorful. Doing great, just like at every stage, everyone was super positive.
For me, it's just so exciting to bring my ideas from an iPad to full scale. You know, I do so much graphic design and illustration work for my t-shirt company. It's really exciting to think of it outside of that 11-inch box that we print on a t-shirt. It's very exciting to say, okay, well now I have 11 feet or I have 30 feet to bring this to life. And it's an exercise in thinking differently and like learning. I don't like to get too still or stagnant in my art. So it's been a really like new, exciting journey to do those two murals.
I'm really into like public art. I really love to create areas where people can have a fun photo backdrop. I think that they bring a lot of joy to the community, no matter where they are. Then I got to thinking about like who in the area is like seeing this mural, and it's a diverse community of people. It's also a lot of families and children. It's a lot of young professionals. It's people who maybe are having a bad day on the street, and I just wanted this mural to be something that might give someone that little spot of happiness in their day. The underlying goal is just make people smile.
Hey, everybody. Those were amazing presentations. Thank you so much. And thank you for those attending for spending your time with us tonight. Business is still unusual across the world, and it is no different in Old East Village. We have experienced many challenges: COVID, construction, plus numerous businesses and properties who have been vandalized or broken into. Street activity has hampered regular business activities. It's created internal conflict within our business owners who strongly value the diversity in our community, while at the same time require a hospitable commercial environment to remain open. Since January, the BIA staff has reported 650 street-involved incidents to the city community informed response team in order to assist those street involved and to reduce the involvement, a number of street involvement activities. And we actively and strongly worked with the City of London and the London Police Services regarding the increasing levels of illegal activity in our municipal parking lots. In advocacy conversations with the mayor, the city manager, and our provincial and federal members of parliament, I spoke about the triple threat facing the village: COVID, construction, and a rise in street involved activity. I made sure that I shared with them that the challenges facing the Old East Village were compounded by the confluence of these three realities. However, during those same conversations, despite these hardships, I shared that we also had businesses opening. We had them expanding. Food operators were providing meals to street involved folks. Local operators were producing hand sanitizers, distributed by Old East Village businesses and to Old East Village businesses at no cost. And groups of shops came together numerous times to promote and support one another through these very difficult number of months. Regarding specifically COVID supports, and in order to keep the village and our patrons safe, the BIA has instituted a COVID-19 vaccine and operational policy, which is in line with the City of London. Please be sure to visit oldeastvillage.com to review our updated COVID-19 regulations. A lot of the work we do is around advocacy. Many of these items have been covered in previous presentations, so I'm just going to focus on a few. The City of London Core Area Action Team is a weekly meeting with the City of London management where numerous departments are represented. More than this, but just as an example, solid waste, engineering, social services. This process was advocated for by myself and Barb Malley from downtown London as a needed process to solve problems quickly by working with the best city staff member possible who can fix a problem or begin working out a solution. Challenges that previously had taken weeks to correct are being addressed much more efficiently. Core area forums, in order to ensure you, our members, are aware of the variety of the City of London programs, the Core Area BIAs recommended a communication strategy regarding regular core area initiative updates. These are webinars created by the City of London to provide updates for information about core area programs and supports. The first was held earlier this year, and the second will be held on October the 28th. These meetings include updates from various City London departments, as well as the London Police and Tourism London. The London Community Recovery Network is a citywide recovery strategy group. As a member of both the core area and the business intergovernmental groups, I was able to share concerns and suggestions generated out of the village to the larger body of organizations and operators. From these overall suggestions came a multifaceted project led by Tourism London that incorporates 14 of the 71 recommendations in the network report. The project focuses on, but is not exclusive to, London BIAs. It is a campaign designed to spotlight local business and motivate commerce in independent shops of all kinds across the city. More information will be coming up shortly in this presentation on this particular topic. So Core Area Action Plan, Dave, thank you very much. You spoke to a couple of items, as well as Jackie. Thank you for that. I'm going to touch on two new programs that Nicole had mentioned. First is the Ambassador Program. It will kick off on November 2021, and it is a pilot funded until 2023. Ambassadors will be hired as friendly faces to shoppers, neighborhood, and neighbors, street involved, and businesses alike. They will be trained to know the businesses in the area, help visitors navigate Honk, the parking app, contact the appropriate services if services are required as support to the neighborhood. And also they will assist in events and will be on the corridor during most operating hours. Clean Slate is a program meant to address the large amount of litter found in the core on private property, including needles and other drug paraphernalia. This initiative is funded through the City of London and staffed by Youth Opportunities Unlimited. It provides a service to the community by removal of private property waste while also creating jobs for London youth who have lived experience. It is currently a pilot, but with the positive feedback we've received, we've been advocating very strongly with the city for it to continue. And 2020-2021 Dundas construction infrastructure project is going to be done in a matter of weeks. We are absolutely thrilled to celebrate that event with a reopening in early November. I'll be speaking a little bit more to that later on, but it's been 2 years and it is worth the celebration. 2022 construction projects, however, will be another disruption to the surrounding neighborhood. These projects include the Adelaide grade separation, King Street BRT, Elizabeth and English projects. During and ahead of the construction, the City of London, in cooperation with the BIA, will be providing as much information as possible in order to provide you with schedules, maps, timelines, and also an ongoing understanding of what the construction mitigation services and supports will be provided. The same ones that are currently there will be there, but we're looking to enhance those because of the numerous projects on the go. There is a City of London meeting in November that will provide more information about all of these projects, and we will be sure to email out the invitation, make sure you're all aware of it, and encourage you to attend. The silver lining to these projects is that they will create a long-awaited, stronger connectivity to our municipal parking lots by way of pedestrian scale lighting and greening. Marketing, tourism, and economic development. These are 3 new projects that I've touched on slightly, but I will go into a little bit more detail. Only in OEV. This is a very exciting project, and we will be revealing some of the assets of the campaign at the end of the meeting, so please be sure to stay logged on. This is exactly what it sounds like, a celebration of all things OEV that cannot be found anywhere else. Included in the campaign will be 2 phases. The first is the launch later this month of the Only in OEV video, website, and self-guided tours. The campaign will be supported by billboards, radio ads, Facebook boosts, sponsored content, and a full coverage Tourism London Instagram takeover. Phase 2 will expand our marketing into other regions and develop an experiential, personalized tour for purchase, in addition to the self-guided option. We've been working on this for over a year, so we're thrilled to share it with you today. Tourism London's Stay a Little Longer campaign is a 2-year project and has been funded, as I mentioned earlier, by the London Community Recovery Network. It was, in fact, awarded with the largest sum of funding by City Council through this project. It is a multi-pronged approach to supporting BI businesses and small businesses outside the BIA. It includes a shop local holiday gift guide, a website which will house all BIA activations and tourism assets, and the geotag to London Visa card program. In this program, Visa cards will go to consumers who rent London hotel rooms, plus London BIAs will also receive Visa cards to distribute in order to promote and support our area businesses. More about this in the coming months, but I can say it is an ambitious and exciting project. The London Film Office is the newest department at the London Economic Development Corporation. There are huge opportunities for small business and film. All cities with film offices, for example, Cambridge right down the road, where currently The Handmaid's Tale is being filmed, all of these cities have an inventory system which identify area assets, including businesses for such things as on-site catering, furniture rentals, filming locations, shoots, and building rentals. We'll be sending out more information about how to get onto this registry with no obligation to participate. So really, there's nothing to lose and maybe some very interesting opportunities to gain in investigating and signing on to the inventory project through the London Film Office. Next steps. We are thrilled to plan an early November reopening event to celebrate the completion of the Dundas construction project. It will be important to have lots and lots of business participation. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of cash mobs up and down the corridor. So BI staff will reach out to you in the probably next week to start discussions. So expect a call from myself, Adi, Sarah, or Nicole. The construction dollar project, we are coming to the close of the second construction dollar program year. The dollars this year expire at the end of November. This year we received $52,000. Right now we've had $15,000 redeemed. So if you are a business and you have dollars that you've not distributed yet, please contact us so we can work to assist you to create a promotion in order to get those dollars circulating in the community. As a reference, last year, Old East Village redeemed 75% of our total allocation, which was $32,000. This year, we are striving to do the same or better ourselves, which means that there will be no less than an additional $39,000 injected into the Old East Village economy through the construction dollar program. Coming very early in winter and early spring next year, we have again the LCRN project and the launch of the 2022 construction dollar program. So stay tuned for those and other developing opportunities. And lastly, on behalf of the BI staff, I want to thank our board of directors for their ongoing support and their guidance and their time through this super challenging period in all of our lives. And in particular, I want to thank our board chair, Maria Drangoba. She's been a huge resource and support to me and to the board generally. And as well, I also want to acknowledge Jesse Helmer. He has been a huge asset in collaborating with me at City Hall and different initiatives. So thank you, Jesse, for your efforts there as well. I would like to acknowledge also the amazing people that I get to work with. Our staff is small, but it's mighty. The intelligence, the empathy, the wit, the skill of these individuals really elevate our work every day. We all care deeply about our businesses in this community, and we believe in the ongoing revitalization of the Old East Village, which makes us a really great team. So I just want to thank them and for all of your work on these presentations and everything that you bring to the table every day. And also I want to again thank everyone for attending tonight. It really means a lot for you to spend your evening with us. That's all for me. Maria, back to you.
Thank you, Jen. I've always enjoyed the in-person AGMs. They have been a highlight to get to meet everyone and hear about the exciting activities that happen under normal circumstances in Old East Village. And these last 2 years, I don't know what to say. I mean, after an hour and a half of sitting in front of a computer screen, I'm in awe of everything that has been achieved in these incredibly trying times by you, Jen, and everybody who's on staff. Some people have gone and left the BIA, but Adi, Nicole, Sarah, and Jen, really, if I could clap, I would clap tremendously. It's tremendous work, and I think what really comes across for me is the passion, the fact that all of you have taken the time to prepare so thoroughly for this meeting really is amazing. I'm thrilled that we had so many participants on the call tonight. Thank you all. As we said at the beginning, this will be recorded or has been recorded, so encourage your fellow business owners to watch this presentation on the website so that they also can find out about the exciting activities that are coming up. And there's just so much coming. So without further ado, and I will let you all go home, I want to do one thing. First is we need a motion to adjourn. So if someone could move to adjourn in chat, we'll take a mover and a seconder. So that's the boring part. But before you all start leaving, don't just disappear, because we're going to get a preview of the Only in OEV campaign. So please stick around after we've moved to adjourn. So we need a couple of people. Oh, someone's moved. We've got, yeah, we've got a couple of people that have moved to adjourn. So I'm going to say that the meeting's adjourned, but please stick around and someone can cue the Only in OEV campaign video. Thanks. Wow. Thank you. This is lovely. Thank you all. We've got lots of amazing activities coming up and a lot of more support on the front lines as we hopefully transition out of this crazy pandemic here and move into some more normal life going forward. I think 2022 is going to be incredible and there will be so much positivity. I look forward to seeing everyone again about a year from now, and hopefully that will be in person. Thank you all. Good night.